Yo, what's up? It's Arson. Uh, I got a comment saying that I should do a breakdown video on how I did this. So this is my Harsh Funk beat that I uploaded maybe about a week ago ish. So basically, how the beat starts is I have the beat here. So and then what I did was I half timed it. So I don't have the full version of halftime. So every time I open it up, I gotta do that. So basically what I had it to is I had it at 8 bars and a 1.5 speed. So what that sounds like is like this. And so I did that and I exported it. And I exported it with reverb. So my melody has reverb with it so that I could use the tail of the reverb. Here, I'll show you. You can hear that reverb right here. This empty space right here, nothing's playing here, but you can still hear it because that's the reverb. So what I did was I left reverb on it, just the melody, and I exported it so you could have this tail here, right here, that sound, and then I chopped it and I used it as sort of like a fade in. And I have this one right here is the lower sound. And then this one is the higher sound. So basically, since this is a higher pitch than this, so this is a higher pitch, and I would like it to, like, I'd like it to intro clean. So if I just had this, it doesn't really sound right. So if I have it like this, I like it because the higher end is overpowering once this gets to like around here-ish. So right around here on the fourth beat, it starts to overpower in volume. So basically this is just ducking down, so this has more room to basically just get louder. And it's kind of fading and transitioning into the melody intro. So from there, I started on my drums. So my hi-hat's fairly simple. Not too many rolls with funk, especially like Russian drift funk. You want to keep it fairly simple. You want to keep it fairly simple. Don't want to overdo it too much. Some good rolls like are these ones right here. I think that's 16th notes. Yeah. So 16th notes are really good, especially if you keep them for an entire beat. It just adds like a bunch of ear candy. And then these like double step rolls, these are good for like ending a phrase. But you don't want to have it too, you don't want to have it too similar to the second half of the pattern for the hi-hats. You don't really want to have it too similar. You can have it similar, just not too similar, because if you have it too similar, it's just going to sound way too repetitive and it's just going to sound like this over and over. And that double step roll, that's just not going to sound good every 4 bars. So I like to keep it simple. Another thing is you definitely always want to EQ your samples, especially for hi-hats. So if I didn't EQ the sample, you could see like this little reddish, purple, pinkish fuzz over here. I don't like that. It's gonna create more muddiness with the melody if it's playing at the same time. And all these samples right here, if they all have just a slight bit of low end, a little bit comes a long way, especially if you have multiple samples. So like I said, a little bit comes a long way. If you add up a little bit, that's just gonna end up being a lot in the long run. So you always want to cut the low end of your samples unless it's like a kick or a snare. The snare you can cut the low end, but with like hi-hats and stuff, I cut the low end and some mid. I cut some mid as well. Hi-hats, almost everything in Drift Phonk is always distorted. So here it is without, and here it is with distortion. I just used a default preset, kind of touched it up myself. Then for the snare, here's the original sample. I like the sample. It's just like a funk snare that I had laying around. So what I did was I basically, first of all, I EQ'd it. I cut the lows. Here, hold on. Not too much of a difference, but I still cut the lows. As you can see that there's like some fuzz right around here, so I cut those. Then I added a soft clipper just to bring out a little bit more volume, more gain. Also to clip it, because a lot of the things in Drift Phonk, the majority of the things in Drift Phonk, you want clipping. It's what gives it that aggressive, impactful feeling. And then from there, I just added a fuck ton of distortion. I think I took the something preset. Yeah, I took the something preset and altered it a little bit, as you can see. Here, let me reopen that. Alright, I fucked it up for a sec. Okay, cool. So, what I have here, just this. For the intro, I used the snare as a build-up. So, I wouldn't just like want to have this playing twice, because it just really wouldn't even sound all that right. You want to have like some sort of build-up. I really didn't arrange this beat that much. Literally all I did was I just pasted it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times, and then I just did the same shit here as well. And then for here, we'll get into this house part later. So basically, now we're moving on to the 808 and the kick. So basically, for the 808 and the kick right here, I basically tuned up the low end here, and I also cut the highs, because if I didn't, it would distort too much of the high end. But I want to keep the distortion, and I also want it to be like, I want it to be like naturally distorting. So I cut out the high end because kick's not really supposed to have high end, and I wanted more of a natural distortion instead of distorting the high end that's not necessarily supposed to be in the sample. I just added some bass boost just for extra kick, you know, and then it's already a fairly... Oh, also one thing I did is I turned up the EQ a lot. This is the default sample. Turned it up a bunch. Kind of wanted it to sound more of like an actual like drum kick rather than like some sort of like synthetic low end. Yeah. So just gives it a lot more brightness on the low end. Then we have our 808. Here's the original 808. I like that kind of like howling sound, sorta, as you can see right here. I love the waveform. I love the waveform a lot. It gives a lot of variation. It gives a lot of, I don't know what the word is, whatever. But yeah, it just gives the beat a lot of taste. So what I did with the 808 is I put a limiter on it because I sidechained the kick to the 808. As you can see here, here's the kick, here's the 808. These are just 808s that I didn't use at all because I didn't care to use them. Didn't really sound right. So yeah, what I did with the kick, or the 808, was I turned down the gain a little bit so that when that kick hit, you could still hear it perfect. So what I did was I just turned it down. I turned the threshold down, so when it's hitting, this is the threshold. That's where the threshold is. That's the volume of the threshold. And then for the knee, I wanted it more like a very sudden. I wanted a very sudden attack. So I had it here for a split second. And then the attack, I wanted it to go all the way up. And then for the ratio, that's just like how fast it goes or how long it lasts. Then the knee is like how fast it goes up. Then what I did from there is I added bass boost. Just to boost some more of that low end. Added as distortion. Just to give that low end a little bit more boost, you feel? Or mid end a little bit more boost. Some high end as well. And then I EQ'd it. Excuse me. I kind of rolled off the high end and boosted a little bit more of the low end because I needed some more of that. And then the distortion that takes care of the mids that I liked to distort. And yeah, here we go. Here we have the chimes. The chimes right here. Oh shit, let me play them. It helps give more of that like aggressive taste. You know, I kind of left these like without any distortion, no effects, no nothing. As you can see, nothing here, nothing here. Kind of just like leveling, really, is all it is. So it's a combination of two. It's a combination of this percussion, and then this one's more of like a sleigh bell. So yeah, kind of kept that. It gives it a lot more of like an aggressive style. So like right on beat, you know, like it just sets it. A lot of funk beats also use this, so had to keep it. So then what I did for this part, basically, just pitched it up. You can kind of hear it here. And then what I did here, this is the house part right here. I kind of just kept it in like one pattern because, you know, I didn't really want to place down too much shit. And I knew that it would be just the same shit for 4 bars. Or 4 patterns. So basically with house, you literally, with the kicks, you just literally just place it on every other. Another thing. Oh shit, I forgot to go back to the 808s. 808s. Yes, here we go. So the 808s, there's some slides at the end here. So as you can see, I got some slides up here. One thing that I did do with this, this isn't in the right key, but this was also out of key. But since it's just one semitone down, it really doesn't make that much difference. It just really, it's still in key, but the key helper in FL is mainly used and mostly used for chords. But since this is not a chord, it's just single notes being played in a melody. It's just the 808 melody. It just allowed me to do that. Music theory. It's basically here. I just have it rolling down. And I have this I have this overlapping because I didn't want it to completely fade out, because if it did, it would sound a little bit weird. It just sounds a little bit weird. So I just, yeah, that's that. Alright, cool. And then for snare, you just kind of want to keep it on the 3 and 7 as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I also have it on the end of 4, just turned down a little bit. So it's basically the exact same pattern for this snare. As you can see, it's literally identical. If I go here, it's identical. Then for the 808s, kind of same shit. I mean, really, it's literally the exact same shit. I have a slide up here just for some slight variation. Also slight variation, just so you don't get bored, you know? And then here for the hi-hats, I didn't really do a hi-hat because it just didn't sound right to me. Because I used a trap hi-hat, and I kind of wanted it to have my own like sort of spin to it, you feel? So I kind of just left like a chime percussion in there to still give it, just still give it that house kind of sound, you know? Oh, that's off time. Oops. Wait, where's the start going last time? Okay, that's where it starts to be off time. Whoops. So there, that's really it. And then I just added this in there as well. That's really it. So I hope y'all enjoyed this breakdown. And there's the beat. I hope y'all enjoyed.